Hey, what's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? You're currently tuning into the spectacular Cult Pop Podcast, episode number 6, legacy number 807. This is a show where we will talk about comics and movies and TV and games and food and news and friendship and all the things that scratch your itch. We're coming to you live from the BatCave, our home away from Manny Young Studios, Philadelphia's most unique broadcast and video production space. So this is, where are we? What neighborhood is this?
This would be Port Richmond.
So we are now in Port Richmond's most unique broadcast and video production space, Len's house. Whose house?
Len's house.
Just so we are all in the same room.
Yeah.
I just want to prove it real quick.
In anybody's hands.
I'm your host, Johnny Destructo of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street. It's a super rad shop that caters to individuals of all shapes, sizes, and genders. You can call me JD, Jadles, DJ Jiddlesticks.
Jiddlesticks.
You can call you that?
Jiddlesticks.
Listen, I don't care what you call me. With me tonight are these nerds. If you look in all, we're all around the table. Let's go around the table. Brian.
Hi.
He was locked and loaded. Noel.
Hi.
And Len the Bat Tribble.
Hi there.
Yeah.
Are we all doing our best Brian's right now?
That was good.
Hello.
Yeah.
That's my Brian.
That gets a lot of my like inner self.
At the top of the show, we'd like to thank all of you listeners for being here with us, whether you're here live or checking it out later. If you dig what we're doing, please, for the love of sweet baby Jesus, comment, like, subscribe, and smash the bell icon so you know when we go live and when we add new content. Additionally, we want you to engage with us. You're part of the discussion as well. So pipe up, chumps. That's usually the part of the show where we're like, we've got letters. And then we sing a little ditty about how many letters we have, but we don't have a single letter.
No, we don't have a single letter.
Not one letter.
Nobody wanted to write anything.
Aww.
There was one letter, but it's more visual and it's better we do it next week.
Yeah.
Right.
When we're back in the studio.
In the studio.
Okay.
Okay.
We also didn't prepare what you've been up to this week.
Oh, that's true. Because you know why? We got a big show tonight.
We do have a big
Yeah,
show.
we got a thick show. The show's thick.
Like
Yes.
with 3 C's.
All in the end.
All in the end.
Nope,
Yeah.
no, it's a thick. there's one at the top,
That's
two
cool.
at the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, that's my favorite distribution.
So we're going to be doing something a little bit different tonight. Born of the internet came a question. What is your favorite DC Comics event? After spending way too much time discussing it twixt ourselves, we thought
A lot of time.
save it for the show. So tonight we're going to rank our top 5 favorite DC and Marvel events. So this week we're talking DC and Marvel separately.
Mm-hmm.
But next week, so this is a part 1. Next week, part 2, we're going to rank all time amongst us. So don't miss that next week. Without further ado, take it away. No,
Good.
no, there he is.
All right, so this was a very arduous task. You guys should know that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I had each of these individuals send me their top 5.
He means us.
Yes, each JD, Brian, Len, their top 5 events, comic events. Now, you may ask, what is a comic event? So we had to actually kind of create rules of events because a lot of us were like thinking like, well, any kind of event, it's an event comic. Whereas, or should it be across the whole line of comics? Is it
Right.
just like a character event? Is it just an initiative? So like something like DC's Rebirth is an initiative, not technically an event. Whereas Crisis on Infinite Earths is an event with tie-ins. So like there was a whole bunch of rules, but either way, we created a list of all of the events since 1985 for each publisher, DC and Marvel.
And our 2 big things, right? We're like, not that it has to have both, but if it has either one, does it affect the universe at large?
Mm-hmm.
Or continuity or whatever have ramifications, and are there tie-ins?
Yeah,
Right? Now, not
tie-ins.
that all events have tie-ins, but it's a big indicator.
Tie-ins is one of the bigger ones, and there's one on the list. We'll talk about it when we get to it, where is almost like teeters the edge on is it an event or not?
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of called a mulligan and was like, yeah, that's an event. We'll mention it when we get there. But
And why did we choose to go back only to 1985? What's so special about 1985?
the first, what is considered the first or the benchmark event in comic books, which was
Crisis on Infinite Earths
by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. Yeah, so that was kind of why that's the impetus of modern comic events. So we thought like that's a good place to start. So the way that I did this was each one of you gentlemen gave me your top fives for each publisher.
Mm-hmm.
I put them all together, all of our top fives. And then I also applied a point system to each of our top fives.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be kind of those that rise above percentage wise after we're all done with all of them that we're going to use for the big amalgam list. But the way that we're going to run this, first of all, which one do you want to do first? Do you want to do DC or Marvel first?
Ooh, let's Rochambeau you.
What does that mean?
All right.
Okay.
It's rock, paper,
Len.
scissors.
Oh,
1, 2, 3, shoot. Okay, you pick.
Let's go. What's the decision between
DC or Marvel?
DC or Marvel first.
Let's do Marvel.
Marvel first. All right. So the way that we're going to run this is we're going to in alphabetical order. So Brian, JD, Lennon, and me. You say do you guys remember what your top fives were?
No.
Jesus Christ.
I figured they'd be in the
yes.
notes.
I
Hold on, I'll
remember
look it
my
up.
top five.
Hold
I don't 100% remember the order, but I know my top five.
Well, it's got to be the order. That's what matters.
I still have it written down.
I'm sure it's on my phone.
So I'll vamp. Well, I'll explain what's happening while you guys are looking for your top fives. Okay.
Done. Got it.
So, I will ask you what your top five was. What number five was? Each of you say it.
Yeah.
We will not talk about a selection until all of us have mentioned it in our ranking. So there's going to be some that like my five is your one.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about it until we get to your number one.
Perfect.
So, and I have that all tracked. So we're just when I call on you, all you're going to do is tell me what your number five was. And
So
I
if
will let
only
you
one
know.
person mentioned something.
Then we talk about it right away.
Oh, I got you.
Which
Right.
happens in the first round.
Ooh.
Right. So I will let you know. I've got like the master sheet here. I'll let you know, like, Brian, what's your number five and talk about it.
Sweet.
Len,
Okay.
what's your number four?
Gotcha.
JD, what's your number
Cool.
four and talk about it. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like I'll run it. We'll be good. And then let's have a good conversation. Also, if you guys want, argue with each other. That's
Oh,
good content.
About this stuff.
about all.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I mean,
I've had a
'Cause
bone to
I
pick
got
with
a
Brian.
couple of-
Yeah.
and the fact that he has bones to pick with me really pisses me
all right. So we're going Marvel first.
Our moon is in the comments saying Siege.
You know what?
Siege.
It's an event.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It was a very good event, but we were only able to pick five.
And Robert Monroe Jr. says, "What's up, Cold Poppers?" Christopher Goodnight said, "I wrote one for last week." Oh,
that's
which
what
we're gonna
we're
get to next week. And Hal says, "Thick like a $10 pork chop."
Yes.
It's like a $13 pork chop.
That's a lot for a pork chop.
Yeah, it's
You know,
it's expensive pork chop.
It's got to be cooked
Better be
right though,
cooked.
because it's a pork
Okay.
chops. Anyway, all right. So Marvel comics top five all time. Brian, what is your number five?
My number five was House of M.
Ooh, okay.
House of M.
Yeah.
JD, what? No, we don't talk about it yet. JD, what's your number five?
My number five is King in Black.
Oh.
Len, what's
Yes.
your five? And talk about it.
Oh.
Oh. Well, my five is World War Hulk. And I basically chose that one because it probably, outside of Future Imperfect, which is not an event,
Nope.
I understand. But outside of that, it's the first like initiative or storyline that really made me care about the Hulk.
Mhm.
That didn't have to deal with him either fighting the Thing or fighting the Avengers or something like this. This was all about the Hulk, transplanted from the Marvel universe
Yeah.
into a world of unto himself and just going full Hulk bananas, right? And I liked it because he was able to be full Hulk, yet he was the Hulk that I liked. The Hulk that I really liked was the original Hulk. The original Hulk was monstrous, but he still had a semblance of an intelligence, right? He was almost like, and his intelligence kind of like was slowly building, almost like Frankenstein, right? And this Hulk and World War Hulk, he like he wasn't like, you know, gangster Hulk, like, you know, or Banner Hulk or anything, but he was still he still had, he was
Yeah.
smart. He wasn't just
Yeah.
Well, he was coming off being a king,
right.
which is
Exactly.
dope. So like I lump Planet Hulk and World War Hulk together
Yeah.
because it's like 2 years worth of just awesomeness. But yeah, he was a king.
I loved it, and it was great art. I just loved it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I liked Planet Hulk better than World War Hulk. I thought World War Hulk was just a giant smash a lot, as opposed to Planet Hulk, which like did all the build up, all the character work and all that. And this was like basically him coming back for revenge. And I just felt it felt a little cheap to end it. And such a magnificent story in Planet Hulk with just like, I'm going to come back and kill all the heroes. It's
Well,
like,
I gotta be.
alright.
Well, when I say World War Hulk, I am counting the whole thing.
Oh yeah, the whole
I'm
thing.
counting the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing together.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and the reveal at the end of World War Hulk is cool though. Like that,
What happened at
the
end?
explosion at the end of Planet Hulk.
Oh,
That was a solid reveal, and I think that was really because it was 3 issues of smash 'em up, and it's just like okay, like each issue was him beating the shit out of the Inhumans, and then beating the shit out of the Avengers, and then beating the shit out. So like it was nothing special for like 3 issues.
Yeah.
And then it just like buttoned up really well.
And that was a nice
agree with
button to
Yeah.
everything before. So yeah, that was it. That's my
How
number
says World War Hulk was badass.
See,
It's
there
true.
you go.
It's true.
All right, so my number 5 was King in Black. JD, would you like to talk about it first?
Oh, sure. That was my number 5. So King in Black was a Donny Cates and
Stegman.
Stegman.
Yeah.
Ryan Stegman. So Donny Cates was writing it. Ryan Stegman was drawing it. And the whole Venom run by Donny Cates sort of redefined the character of Venom for, I guess, up even to this day.
Yeah.
So basically we had Venom. He showed up in Spider-Man. He was one of my all-time favorite villains. I just love that he was like this hulking monster that wanted to eat Peter's brains, and he knew his secret identity, and it was a very stressful time to be Peter Parker when Venom was around. And so I love that. And so I'm actually kind of surprised at how much I liked what Donny Cates was doing with Venom. I should hate it. I should have hated it because it was such a vastly different take on the character, and it added so many different cosmic elements to the character, which has been slowly building throughout the Marvel history that Venom's been around. We started to learn about the planet of the symbiotes and all that other stuff. And then he introduced Null, who is the symbiote god, basically. And he even took the Venom logo, which was originally the white spider on Spider-Man's chest when he had the black costume, and said, oh no, this isn't actually a spider, this is a dragon. And then there were like symbiote dragons and all that sort of stuff. So it really added all these different layers, I would say akin to what Jeff Johns did with Green Lantern, in that it just kind of took something that was there and built upon it so much that it was kind of like, oh, this is a whole different thing now. It's very cool. And I'm surprised it wasn't done sooner. I just really like the way that he manipulated the character and advanced him in a way that I thought was really strong. What did you think?
Well, I'm going to yes and everything you said, but yeah, I'm coming from it of I've never liked Venom that much.
Yeah.
He's a foil, but I never cared about him.
Mhm.
And the entire run up to King in Black was just kind of adding layers to Eddie Brock that didn't like exist before without undoing anything else that came before. Right. Yeah. So it was the perfect kind of like it was almost like high art trash. Like it was both Stegman and Cates knew exactly what they were doing, and they have a specific love for a specific era of comics, but they were applying a modern style of storytelling to it. So I fell for it hook, line, and sinker, and I loved it. And then by the time King in Black came, when they were going high cosmic and dipping into Thor lore and cosmic lore and like big Marvel ideas like Eternity, and it's a Venom book. It was more of a surprise than anything else, and it's one of the more recent events, but it snuck on my top 5.
That's another one of the big things that I loved, that Donny Cates was able to take what Jason Aaron had created for Thor and tied in the God Butcher into that whole thing. It was so cool. I love that. I love that stuff. I like when different writers are working on different books separately and then are able to weave them together in such a way that it actually makes sense. Very cool.
You know, it's weird that Venom was always such a street level character, but his origin is inherently cosmic.
Yeah.
And never really was addressed with that character. You know, it's just like, well, his costume came from outer space. It's an alien.
Yeah.
That's it. He's
now he's on
Yeah.
Earth.
Yeah.
And it's taking the things that are obvious and right there that no one's done before or no one has done recently or before in the same way. Like there's no such thing as originality anymore. It's just kind of repurposing or reorganizing some things that are familiar in a new formulation or format, right?
Yeah.
Right.
All right, those are our number 5s.
There we go.
All right.
This is fun. I like this.
Brian,
Yes.
what is your number 4?
My number 4 Marvel is Secret Wars. Speaking of the origin of Venom, Secret Wars 1985. Yes.
JD?
My
What's your
number
four?
4 is House of M.
Oh.
Len?
My secret. My
What's your
My
secret, Len?
secret.
Tell us your secret.
What's your secret?
my number 4 is
We almost
Secret
had it.
Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
Ah.
The Scrolls.
And my number 4
4.
is House of M.
Oh,
That's 3 of us.
We're moving on
Okay.
to number 3. Brian,
Yes.
what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Age of Apocalypse.
Yes.
And talk about
All
it.
right. Now I'll tell you what, that or Secret Wars, I was like, which one should be 3? Which one should be 4?
you announced the Age of Apocalypse. Talk about it.
Yes. But
Follow the rules.
I thought I'm gonna do
What
Age
you
of
want to do?
Apocalypse as higher. Oh yeah. I mean, yes, obviously. But I'm gonna put Age of Apocalypse higher up because I don't know, just as I was reading it, I was so into that thing. Probably the most I'd ever been into X-Men, because X-Men were never really my
jam.
favorite. Not really. I always liked the classic X-Men, you know, the original 5, and for whatever reason, the X-Men really typified a lot of what 90s comics that I wasn't into.
Okay.
But Age of Apocalypse, I was in. You know, the alternate reality, different takes on known characters. And it was just this like crazy ride that I was on from start to finish.
And so this was this the first time that comic company had ceased the certain titles that it was publishing and renamed them specifically because of an event that was going on?
First that I can
First
remember.
that I can think
Because there
of.
I
were
thought that
always-
was so cool.
Yeah.
Because I erroneously thought that they did that for Secret Wars in 85 or no, Christ on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, but they
I
didn't,
erroneously
yeah.
thought that they stopped other books and just a bunch of new. Nope.
Mm.
So Age of Apocalypse. So this was this is the event that I wasn't exactly sure as an event because it was self-contained to only X-Men books.
Yeah.
However, it took over all X-Men books and
Yeah.
changed
Yeah.
all of the titles.
Yeah.
So it was like on the fence as to if it's a proper event, but you know, you
And,
really wanted it.
See,
so
I was thinking
let's
about
go.
it. Well, to be honest with you, I was kind of having a hard time. I had like 4 Marvel events I really liked, and I was like, a lot of the rest of them were kind of the same for me.
Yeah.
And then I thought of Age of Apocalypse. I was like, oh yeah. And I thought, you see what happened with other characters, I think, right? Like there's whatever the Hulk was up to in the Age of Apocalypse world.
Oh, really?
I
don't remember.
don't
never read it.
remember 100%.
I
Yeah,
never
go
read
ahead.
it.
You're sitting with
really?
a bunch of people that never read it.
Never read it.
I
Never
was
read it?
not.
Read what
never-
came out of it. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what I read.
I have been. That was the first time first of all, I didn't read it, but then every other time after that they've tried to recreate Age of Apocalypse, it's been the worst reading experience, and I
Yeah.
completely dislike it.
Yeah,
Changing all the titles, I'm just not a giant fan.
yeah. None of the other ones have really jumped out at me.
Yeah.
The stuff that has come after it though has been pretty cool. Like X-Man was
X-Men.
Nate Gray.
Yeah. Nate Gray. Yeah.
Character is from the Age of Apocalypse reality, and Dark Beast has been pretty cool.
That's right.
And
Yeah, Dark Beast is cool.
Blink, I
Oh,
believe.
Blink came from that.
From
Yeah.
Exa-
A lot of people got
Exiles
love
is
for
a book.
Blink. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. She blew up.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think the Sabretooth Wild Child combo from them was a main character in the Exiles book. for a
Oh
while.
yeah. Yep. True.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Age of Apocalypse?
Well, just to make sure,
Yeah.
Age of Apocalypse, what came out of it, that was the whole Heroes Reborn, ultimately, right? No,
No,
that's
that's
that was
Onslaught.
No, that's
Onslaught.
that was Onslaught.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
yeah.
I
So
have to
so
make
now
sure I
you just
remember.
don't even like Age of
No, I don't even give a
Apocalypse.
fuck.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was some cool stuff. I don't know if it would be cool now, right? It was
Yeah.
What, the stuff that, like the image stuff that came from Onslaught? Is that what you-
no. The Age of Apocalypse.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't care.
I wasn't into the X-Men at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really get into the X-Men proper until was it Joss Whedon and Grant Morrison? Like those
I
two
randomly
guys, right?
picked up. I
Those two,
randomly
yeah.
picked up issues of Age of Apocalypse
Yeah.
from like the grocery store magazine shelf.
Sure.
And really liked it. I at that time I was only watching the cartoon.
Mhm.
So like, oh, that Wolverine has one hand and he's cool looking. But I had no idea what the fuck was going on,
Yeah.
or all 30 other issues that were attached to it.
Yeah.
So like, it was just
you
such
know
a
what?
shadow.
I have to say, I got mad respect for people who stuck with X-Men forever
Yeah.
and never let it
Still
go.
sticking with X-Men. Yeah.
Yeah, like I ran with the X-Men through Byrne and Claremont,
Yeah.
loved it.
Good stuff.
Stayed with a little bit into like Paul Smith because I like Paul Smith's art. Saw Jim Lee. Hey, Jim Lee can draw, but for some reason it just didn't 100% stick with me. I was kind of like good with it. I honestly didn't really return to the X-Men until Morrison and Quitely came
Whoa,
on,
yeah,
and that was
yeah.
some good stuff. I
That-
stayed.
I haven't
all-
revisited it, but I loved that run. I did
Yeah.
not love how it ended. The last two issues.
No. It ended-
Nonsense.
It was
The
BS.
I was
Wait.
so mad.
issues.
Ugh.
Oh God, yes.
But they ended up curbing those for like, what was the really bad X-Men movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially like the
There's
whole.
a
Yeah.
couple of really bad X-Men movies. I'm not sure which one you mean. but yes.
The one
I'm talking about the
Dark
Brett
Phoenix.
Ratner one, Dark
The
Phoenix.
the Ratner one. Yeah,
Yeah,
X-Men X3.
Yeah,
The
X3.
Last Stand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right.
Yeah, the
Not
last
X-Men
Blah!
United.
You know, the other X-Men thing that I considered when thinking about Age of Apocalypse is the most recent thing, which has been a really cool run for the X-Men. The
Oh,
House of X, Powers of 10.
Hoxpox.
Yeah,
Yeah, not an event.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Definitely not an event, even though it
yeah.
it definitely
Been 4
has
years.
but it
Right.
has ramifications
Yes.
throughout
It's-
the
I
line.
I think
but
House of
it's
X,
not-
Powers of 10 was an event. The other stuff that
No.
came
No,
No,
after.
I can't say it was an event because
I
it
would
really
say
was
it's an event.
contained.
It's a maxi
was.
series. It wasn't an event. Like it was eventful,
It was
Right.
eventful.
but it wasn't a line-wide event.
No,
at all.
Like
no, not line wide.
Hal says some cool characters came out of Age of Apocalypse
Mm.
and some cool designs of characters.
That's true.
Yeah.
They did. It was a cool looking universe.
So let's move on.
Let's do it.
JD, what's your number 3? And let's
I don't
all
know.
talk about it.
My number 3 is I'll tell you, it's Secret Wars 1985.
Oh,
The biggest effect this crossover had was they made Secret Wars action figures. They're about this big.
Fuck the book.
They were this big, and it gave Spider-Man a new costume,
Mm.
which to this day
Mm.
is iconic as
Fudge.
fudge.
now
So-
JD, isn't it the other way around though? I don't think the Secret Wars comic led to the action figures. I think
that's
the
true.
action figures led to the comic.
I'm sorry. What I was saying was what I got out of it was the
I
action
gotcha.
figures.
I gotcha.
And the black suited Spider-Man, the character, the figures were like a soft rubber,
Mm.
not like a stretchy rubber, but just sort of like, I guess, a hard rubber, really, a hard rubber. And they only had articulation in the shoulders and the hips, so you could move the feet and the arms, and that was it. And he went with me everywhere.
Mm.
I just loved that symbiote. I guess I didn't know it was symbiote. It was like black
Nobody knew.
Spider-Man.
Nobody
Yeah.
knew at the time. Yeah.
No, they
Um,
thought it was a great suit.
Yeah, I just went with me everywhere. I absolutely loved it, and to this day, what was it? It was designed by what's that guy? Anyway,
Wasn't it some like a fan design?
sort of. A fan
Sort of.
had an idea about a
Right,
black
right.
costume,
Right.
and then someone, I can't remember the name of the artist. He also designed. He drew. Didn't he draw Spider-Man 2099? Rick Leonardi.
Maybe.
But anyway,
You looking it up?
Yeah.
so
No.
Secret Wars was, I think, my first event that I ever read was when it was coming out in the comic books. I read it like an issue here or there. I couldn't get all of them because I was young and poor. I didn't have any money.
Mhm.
So it was like whenever I could get to the comic shop and had an extra bucks, I could have a comic book. So, but I do remember getting the one with Spider-Man getting the new suit. And so that was a really big deal for me as a big Spider-Man fan.
Did you
Rand-
already have the figure?
The
that Danny
fan
got that?
was here. It is.
I don't remember.
I'm
honestly.
sorry. In 1982, a Spider-Man fan named Randy Schuler sent in a submission to Marvel after the publication's announcement of a competition to come up with new ideas for a comic book universe. Schuler suggested a black stealth style suit that would enhance Spidey's abilities and would be designed by Reed Richards. Marvel's editor-in-chief Jim Shooter loved Schuler's pitch and bought the idea from him for the sum of $220. Wow.
Fair. There's not a lot there.
I mean,
What
also,
if his
he was
costume was
pitching
black?
a costume, and
Yeah.
it's in.
Yeah.
I
the thing
mean,
now. That's
but
cool.
it's one of the most. That's a steal.
Yeah, that's a steal, man.
Hmm.
That's a steal.
costume
That man
has
should
made
be rolling in dough right
billions
now.
of dollars. That
But,
costume has made billions.
who
of
designed
dollars.
the suit?
This
This guy said the words black stealth costume. Someone else designed, he created the elements, the design elements of the costume that make it iconic.
they are the story that I'm reading here in Collider is not listing the
So, what's the story about? Anyone?
Secret Wars?
The Beyonder, in an effort to test, I believe, the concepts of good and evil,
Mhm.
he pulls different heroes and villains and portions of things onto Battle World,
Mhm.
I believe, right?
Mhm.
And then all the heroes are in one place, the villains are in another, and they fight each other, and the concepts of good and evil are tested.
All in 1985, same year as Crisis.
same
that's-
years as Crisis.
That's why like 85 was the benchmark year.
Yeah, and a
I
lot of
thought
people.
Secret Wars was the first like intercompany.
I don't know when each came
Rick
out.
Leonardi.
Well, I think Secret Wars came out in '84. It's
They
listed.
both
It is
started.
listed as 84 in some
It
places.
ended in 85. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
marked. This is when all of them and all the dates that I have is when
Hmm.
the minis ended, not started.
Gotcha.
Right. So it was listed. It started in '84. It was a whole big initiative. Some say that Crisis was an answer to Secret Wars, but if you read the history, they're saying like no, Crisis was already in the works, and Marvel Jim Shooter actually steamrolled this into production so that it would beat
Interesting.
Crisis, because you can see
Damn.
it because Crisis is a whole initiative
Yeah.
That's
that was
yeah.
seeded
Yeah.
with, like
Yeah.
it started seeding actually in '83, like small
Yeah.
bits of like the Monitor and Shadow was showing up
Yeah,
in the
like
comic
giving
books and
some
stuff.
villains weapons. Or
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
While like Shooter, who the Beyonder is kind of modeled after,
Is that right?
yes, kind of like just steamrolled that whole thing
Yeah.
in
Ah.
there. Yeah.
And when you were talking about, you thought that Secret Wars stopped and had what different?
No, I thought Crisis.
Oh,
Not
it's
Secret.
Crisis.
Yeah, I thought
Oh, okay.
Crisis is what like the Batman title and the Superman title stopped, and it was
Oh,
a
I
Crisis
see.
book.
What
But
I remembered was with Secret Wars, there were issues of Spider-Man. Where is Spider-Man? And so everyone in Peter Parker's life was like, where the fuck is Peter? And so it really dealt with the Black Cat out in like New York looking for Spider-Man, who just disappeared because he got sucked into a thing in Central Park and whisked off to Battle World. So yeah,
What-
I thought that was cool too.
What did you guys think of the 2015 Secret Wars?
I loved it.
I loved it too.
The John Hickman.
Yeah, because like I'm not going to spoil the rest of the lists, but it's a good opportunity to talk about it if you guys had any thoughts about the 2015 Secret Wars.
I think the extraneous books that went along with it, unnecessary, like
The
the
Battle
Thor
World
core
books.
and the Battle World and all that sort of stuff. But the main story I thought was kind of neat.
I loved the ambition of it, but you're right, it didn't all work.
Yeah.
Like the idea, because they literally did cancel the entire line of comics,
Mhm.
and then you had little mini series for each Battle World land.
Yeah.
And didn't that become like a template for them for a little bit? It seems like that happened at least once or twice after that.
What, like cancel?
Yeah, like
Oh,
or if not a whole line, like all of a sudden, like a few books would be canceled, and then there'd be little miniseries. I thought I remember them
Yeah,
doing
maybe,
that
I'm not
after,
sure.
in the
Maybe.
wake of it.
I maybe I don't remember.
I think
it's happened on the X books like 3 times.
Maybe
since.
yeah. Yeah, there you go.
But the entire Marvel line, no, it's the closest to that Marvel has ever come to a air quotes reboot,
Right,
because
right.
everything still happened and everyone still remembers everything, but the world was rebuilt.
And from what I understand,
the
I believe
universe
it
was
was
rebuilt.
just so that they could fold the Ultimate
Ultimate
Universe
into-
into the
Mm,
6
yeah.
Ultimately,
episodes.
that's what it was all
They just wanted to
about.
bring over Miles Morales. That was
There's
like it.
one character for the
Yeah.
Ultimate
Yeah.
Universe.
Yeah.
Not-
Well, I
right.
mean, yeah, they killed everyone else.
Right.
And it's only because he gave Molecule Man a burger when he was hungry.
That's right.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's a good book. Anyway, any other
Oh.
thoughts about Secret Wars 1985?
Just I loved it. That was I think the first collected edition comic that I ever had, and I'm still to this day a sucker for all of the different characters meeting, and that was one of the first times that I saw that happen, and it was very cool. And there's so many cool moments. There's Spider-Man getting the black costume. There's some awesome stuff that happens with the Molecule Man. There is, in fact, the Hulk getting madder and madder at somebody's making him mad so that he gets strong enough to lift up that mountain.
The whole mountain.
And
yeah.
the
I've
whole
never read it.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Hulk lifts up a mountain. And
Spoiler
Spoilers.
alert.
yeah. And when they win and everything's going well, and it's like, oh, we're getting this like kind of residual effects of having won this contest, or our wishes coming true, and it was a good story overall that I don't really remember that well. I just remember liking it.
I'm not sure it like where we were talking about Crisis and how these two were sort of like neck and neck. You can definitely tell a lot more work and thought went into Crisis, and Secret Wars by comparison looks like they rushed it out so that they could have something on the shelves. I'm not sure that Secret Wars holds up as well as Crisis does.
It doesn't.
But at the time when I was a kid,
Of course.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it is fun.
Yeah. It's like I never read it because I recognized it for the cash grab that it was, and I can't remember who it was. I didn't like the art. So I was like, if you're gonna
Wasn't
have,
it Mike Zeck?
Yes.
You didn't
Did he-
like the Mike Zeck art?
I guess I didn't like Mike Zeck at that time. I just didn't. I mean, look, Mike Zeck is Mike Zeck. But when you've got
Zach's going to Zach.
when you got on the shelf, Mike Zeck, George Perez.
Or George Perez.
I'm,
all right.
I'm grabbing
all
George
right.
Perez,
All right.
you know, all day.
Len,
Yes.
It was Mike Zeck and Bob Layton.
we'll keep
That's
the
a
mic.
good looking book, Len.
Keep the mic with you. Tell me your number 3 and talk about it.
Oh, my number three. My number 3, I'm pretty sure. Let me just check. Is yes, House of M. And I liked House of M simply because of one reason and one reason only.
Can I guess?
What?
Is it Olivier Coipel?
Yes.
Ha!
The art is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a good looking
So-
book.
It's a good looking book.
I love this book. This is the only Marvel book that all 4 of us picked.
How
Oh,
about that?
I believe that. I believe that.
I love this book. This is one of the versions of they canceled a bunch of books and they were all the House of M versions of the book
yeah.
Mhm.
with alternate characters. And honestly, of most events, this was like the strongest,
Was
at
this
least in modern
Bendis?
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian Michael Bendis.
I think this was his first Marvel proper event.
It
Or
may
no,
have-
It was
no, I don't think it
disassembled.
was.
that's not an event.
And no, I guess that was just an Avengers thing.
Yeah, it was just like it was disassembled was just 4 issues of Avengers,
Yeah.
like 500 to 504,
Yeah.
and then the book was canceled and then became New Avengers, and this was the first New Avengers event.
But wasn't I'm sorry, I'm looking up House of M because I wanted to see who wrote it and drew it. It was Olivier Coipel. Okay, I'm not crazy. But didn't Disassembled lead directly into this? Because the thing that happens in Disassembled,
Yeah.
Avengers Disassembled, is revealed to eventually have been the work of Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we'll also talk about how things that happened in Disassembled and the beginning of New Avengers leads into another event. Like
Okay.
he set up
Yeah, he set up a
3
whole bunch of
events.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in like Disassembled and then the first arc of New Avengers, which came out of Disassembled. But like House of M was the first event of his like
Yeah.
era,
Oh, I see.
his heroic era
Mhm,
of
mhm.
Marvel, and it's still probably one of the strongest.
It is.
Yeah.
And think how daring it is, because honestly, nobody, God love her, nobody had done jack shit with Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
George Perez could draw a mean Scarlet Witch, but he ain't do jack shit with the character.
Mhm.
And Bendis came in there and it's like, yo, we need to do something with this chick.
Same with Hawkeye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really. Well, I don't know.
Oh, for years,
I guess
Thunderbolt.
yeah, Hawkeye was
Well,
pretty like
that
one
version
note.
of Thunderbolts wasn't Hawkeye, was it?
No, not
Yeah,
not the
so
first.
like he hadn't been kind of like
Yeah, he was pretty much one note. I mean, he was interesting. You liked him, but he was
Like
a
he
one-note
effectively
character.
made him a tragic figure and then a lead character in his
Yeah.
Avengers run.
And
Yeah.
isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. I was never big into the Avengers until Bendis showed up. Like I did not care about the classic Avengers, the Perez, all that stuff, until Bendis took over, and I was like, "Oh, I like this guy. I'll read this." I was reading his like indie stuff before that.
Mhm.
Did he do the? Oh, I lost my train of thought. Scarlet Witch,
Hawkeye.
House of M. Shit, it's gone.
Oh, did he
Too much preamble.
do a line of coke before
Yes.
this? Probably.
There was something new that was being done.
Ultimate.
Here, you guys keep going. I'm gonna.
I'm right.
The recap of House of M is the X-Men and the Avengers get together to decide what to do with their Wanda problem because
Mhm.
Wanda is so powerful enough to rewrite reality. So some are advocating for let's take her out. Some are advocating for let's lock her up. Some are
Yeah.
advocating for rehabilitation. And before they have a chance to do anything, she rewrites the entirety of reality. And the end of this event leads to so many X-Men things too,
Yes.
because she eradicated
The mutants.
No more mutants.
no more
No
mutants.
more
Yeah.
mutants.
Except for 285 mutants. No more mutants.
I think it wasn't 198.
198.
But,
I'm
like,
sorry.
all 198 were like within the tri-state area.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
weird.
But
They were ranked in terms of fame.
Yeah.
Was who got to stick around.
also
Jesus.
too afterwards too she restored Wolverine's memories.
Yes, that's
Oh,
right.
right.
Was that how he got his memory?
Is that how we
Yeah.
got Origin?
Yeah.
Ah.
Unfortunately.
No, I thought Origin
Oh, wait,
I think
no.
happened years before
No,
the
the
character
series
found
by
out.
Daniel Way, Wolverine Origins. Yes.
Oh, I see that
Like,
one.
that one we got. But just the Origin book, no, that was years before. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a really strong ass event, and Olivier Coipel.
So good art.
It's
The art's
so
so
good.
good.
Also, I love seeing Peter Parker when the events that lead him to be Spider-Man don't happen. Like he still has the powers,
I remember.
but he's like didn't have the great power, great responsibility thing go on, and so he's just like a popular performer.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah.
interesting take
Yeah.
on him.
Say what you're gonna remember.
I remember what
What
I was
was it?
gonna say. Is he the one? So before before House of M happened, was Carol Danvers just Miss Marvel?
Yes.
So what I
Well, she'd
remember
been
from
No.
this
binary
is,
for a little while.
is that,
No,
Like,
she
was
had
binary.
been
but she wasn't Captain,
Oh no.
right?
No.
no, she wasn't Captain Marvel. No.
But in the House of M storyline, all the heroes get their greatest wish, right? Because she wants to help all of her friends, which is also kind of a cool thing for a villain to do. And Carol becomes the world's greatest
Yeah.
superhero.
Oh.
And so when they come out of it, she remembers, I was fucking killing it, dog. I have not been living up to my potential all this time. I'm going to be Captain Marvel now, and I'm going to live up to my potential.
She stayed Miss for a couple of years, but yes.
Yeah, eventually becomes.
It was I was actually gonna say after he was done, like that began my super love of Miss Marvel. Because that was the first. I didn't know who the fuck she was whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow.
Same.
And him kind of focusing on her for half of the story.
Yeah.
And then her becoming an Avenger right out of it because I'm not doing enough. I saw how good I could be.
Mm-hmm.
And why the fuck didn't I just do that?
Mhm.
So like she became prominent and she was the leader of Mighty Avengers after that. She was a member of New Avengers after that. Like it's the beginning of the Miss Captain Marvel Renaissance.
Yeah.
It is. And it is also indicative of Bendis because Bendis, I think, does write very strong women.
Mhm.
And him coming in there and doing what he did with Wanda, doing something with her. Nothing had been done with her. She's now much stronger character, even going through that. And doing something with Carol Danvers, which if you didn't know Carol Danvers, but you knew the history of Carol Danvers, this was really the reclamation of Carol Danvers because Marvel had done her so dirty before. So
I heard some of the stuff that they did.
yeah, so it's actually really good, and that's just a credit to why Bendis is just a badass writer.
Christopher Goodnight says, I've read the entire Age of Apocalypse. It was just okay.
Just okay.
Just
Yeah.
fine.
That's all right.
They tried it again with Age of X, with Moira messing with everyone's minds, and Magneto and Rogue were a couple, and Cyclops was Basilisk, and I think all the mind readers were sidelined.
I think Magneto and Rogue were a couple in the regular Age of Apocalypse too.
Oh, yeah?
Because he can touch her because of his like electromagnetic power.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
I don't know if I.
Um,
I mean, I don't think it's ever been the case outside of the Age of Apocalypse. But
Anyway,
Yes,
yeah.
we're gonna move on because I'm looking at the time.
let's do it.
My number 3 is Civil War.
That's your number
Brian,
3.
That's
Wow.
my number 3.
Wow.
Brian,
yes,
what's your number 2?
Annihilation.
Talk about it.
Oh.
Yes. One of my favorite Marvel stories is Annihilation, and to a lesser extent the things that followed after it, the other Annihilations. But that first Annihilation miniseries, JD,
What was it?
what was?
What was Annihilation?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the story?
Oh.
I never read it. I was never a
So-
big cosmic guy.
Yeah, and I am, and Marvel does great cosmic stuff
Yeah,
too, and so
that's what I
this
hear.
was like all of their different cosmic things, including Star-Lord, who they just called him Peter Quill, who I had never heard of before. That was my introduction to him. It was the Annihilation wave was happening, right? It was coming out of, I forget if they knew at
negative-
first, but
the
it,
negative zone.
yeah.
Nihilist. Yeah.
yeah, it was.
Oh,
Annihilus.
it was a
Yeah.
nihilist?
Yeah.
That tracks.
And I don't think you
Right there.
knew that at first, and then
Oh.
it was like, oh, of course,
Of course.
right.
Yeah.
This was also when Richard Rider got the full Nova Force, and he became Nova Prime.
Yeah, the mind,
And
the world
yeah.
mind. World mind?
World Mind, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, the Annihilation Force completely decimated every single Nova Corpsman except him,
Yeah.
and he took on the whole world mind and became like the last Nova.
Who wrote
Yeah.
this?
This was Keith Giffen.
Giffen.
I believe.
sounds like
Yeah.
Well, it
Giffen.
was actually
Yeah.
so this is a weird event, and
Yeah.
I almost had it on my list, but I
Mm.
swapped it out for something else later on. This is an event in pieces, so it was 4 3-issue or 3 4-issue miniseries or 4 3-issue miniseries that were
Yeah.
only character focused.
Yeah, there's like Star-Lord.
So there-
one.
Drax.
Well, no,
Yeah.
Star Lord didn't happen yet. That's,
Oh, that
that's the
was-
next one.
That was.
All right,
Drax
so
was the first one, wasn't
Drax
it?
was the first one,
Mm.
and it's not good. Because I remember Annihilation fondly, and I picked up the omnibus to like read it all the way
Mhm.
through. There's a Super Scroll mini
Yes.
That's-
right. Forgot about that.
that I didn't super love. There's a Silver Surfer one that's kind of rough, and a Drax one that's a good story, but the art is, I think it's Mitch Breitweiser,
Okay.
and it's not awesome. It's like really muddy.
He's like comic skate now, isn't he?
Yeah,
Oh.
but then you get to the actual
Oh,
event,
Yeah.
and it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you need the minis?
I would say no.
Ah.
Yeah. I'm not
Hmm.
sure. I think I read the Super Scroll one and the Silver Surfer one because I'll pick up any.
Those are
Silver
the
Surfer
strong.
thing.
Those are the
Yeah.
strongest of the 4.
Yeah.
But it was like I remember reading the omnibus, and it was a struggle to get through the first half.
Mm.
And then when you get to the event, which is Giffen and Abnett and Lanning are working with him at this
Yeah.
point too,
Yeah.
and it's just absolutely awesome.
Yeah. It just like start to finish. It's cool. Silver Surfer has a big
Yeah.
role. It's like I said, it's all the Marvel cosmic characters, and I think I forget if the
Nope.
modern Guardians of the Galaxy is that the next one
We'll talk about
starts them
later.
Yeah.
it. Yeah, great pick, Brian, but you're the only one.
That's all right.
JD,
Greatness is often alone.
I
What is
unplugged
your
my
num-
computer.
what's your number 2, JD?
Well,
What's
I'll
your
tell
number
you,
2?
oh my God, it's Civil War.
Oh.
Also by Brian Michael Bendis.
Len. No, it's not. That's Mark Miller. Len,
Oh, fuck, yeah.
what's your number 2?
Oh, my number 2 is I have it down here as the Infinity Gauntlets, but it's the whole thing.
It's the trilogy. Yeah, I
It's
know.
Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity Crusade, and Infinity
No,
War.
it's Warren's. It's not Crusade in the middle, I think.
No, I doubt it. Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War, Infinity Crusade. That's the trilogy.
Crusade?
What's Infinity?
It doesn't matter. Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes, that's the.
It's
that's the
all
trilogy.
them
I
against
remember Crusade.
Thanos.
It is.
Oh no, I believe you. I'm conflating those Starlin later books, the Infinity Initiative, Infinity.
No,
like,
it is. Yeah.
that's what I thought Crusade
Gotcha.
was.
Gotcha.
I know it exists.
What's going on?
Is his camera still on?
Uh-oh.
Your camera's still. Oh no, it fell apart.
Brian is
Yes.
I think
stuck in time.
Brian's dead.
Brian is
dead.
I
stuck
live.
in time.
All right, I'll get.
Should I? Who's doing what? Oh, so
Oh,
Civil
you know
War.
what? Actually, no, the next one. I'll talk about it. I think it's just my number 2. We're not talking about Infinity Gauntlets yet.
Well,
Yeah, you dropped me.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I took Len out of the stream because we were just looking at his butt. So turns out he's got the sound. We don't have the sound. So we're gonna start over.
Secret Invasion. What is Secret
Invasion? Go.
Skrulls take over. Skrulls invade the entirety of the Marvel universe. They evade all detection and are able to mimic the powers of many of the superheroes and just like lay waste.
Yeah.
The enormity of the event impressed the shit out of me. I was very, very excited on a weekly basis. And I'm talking like everything that led up to it. The New Avengers run, the Illuminati.
Oh, the Illuminati was good.
miniseries.
oh, that was cool.
That was good.
Yeah.
All of the little I think it was like issue 31 drawn by
Lionel Yu, yeah.
Um
I always do that.
of like they accidentally kill Elektra and she turns into a Skrull and
Yeah.
it just like starts this
Oh, yeah.
whole
Ah.
chain of the event itself gets a lot of shit because the plan of the Skrulls is to sequester and get rid of all of the heroes on the Savage Land. So they are on the Savage, like your main Avengers are on the Savage Land trying to fight their way back
For so long.
for like 5 of the 7 issues.
It's ridiculous.
It's awesome.
yeah.
It's straight up awesome because they're like you take away all of their abilities and they're still fighting amongst themselves because they don't know who's who.
I remember going, are we still in the Savage Land? I want to see what's going on with the Skrulls.
But you did get to see that. It was just like all the B heroes that were dealing with all the stuff in the cities, and then Nick Fury comes back, and like in issues, I was feeling it because I was also reading New Avengers and Mighty Avengers, and they were like interweaving this whole time. It is an event that you could read all the books, and they all feel vital, like they all flow into each other. But going back and rereading it as a collection, just the 7 issues. It does not feel like a slog that they're in the Savage Land.
Oh, no? Okay.
I think it was like a monthly basis thing too.
I haven't read it since. I was experiencing it as it was coming out, and I thought it was such a great idea, and I was so excited for it. And I was really excited for what could be the outcome of it, of the repercussions of like who's been a Skrull this whole time and who's coming back from the dead.
Oh, yeah.
That sort of stuff. I don't remember there being too many revelations like that, though.
Yeah, there was a bunch. So,
or maybe that ones that I cared about.
Mockingbird was a Skrull.
Nope,
the whole time.
Didn't know who that was
since the 80s.
At that time.
Wasn't Hank
Pym was a
So they
Skrull
got
for
rid of the,
no, they kept the slap.
Oh, that's
it was post slap.
Like he's still a.
They saw him slap his wife, and they're like, I like this motherfucker.
Let's get this guy back to the home.
Jessica Drew.
Spider-Woman. Yeah.
Which led into a really cool miniseries of Sword. Yeah.
You know my thing with it?
Nick Cage or Luke Cage was taken for and changed, like a whole bunch of shit. Like
I thought it was a cool event. In the beginning of it, there were a number of different characters. Oh, hey, I didn't know. It was like showing me his screen. In the beginning of it, there were a number of different miniseries where the Skrulls are going to use their Super Skrull technology to combine the powers of different groups and like all of the X-Men in one Super Skrull, right? And I was like, that looks cool. And they didn't really do that, and it was all about like who was a Skrull all along.
Yeah.
And I was
What do
like,
wait,
oh, I don't like this as much.
They did do that. In like the big battles, there were Skrulls that like had Cyclops' eyes but claws, and like they were like.
I guess I thought it was going to be more of the focus of it,
Right.
and then it was more about just like, oh, the Skrulls are shapeshifters. This is what they've always been doing, you know.
Yeah, they did. They wrote in all of the ways that like they were fooled before, or wrote away that like so like they like Reed couldn't detect them anymore. Literally couldn't do anything other than kill them, hoping that you kill the Skrull,
right,
in order to like get them to change back.
Christopher Goodnight says, I think he's a little behind. Isn't Evil Reed
from the Ultimate Universe still around?
What was his name? The Master or
Maker?
The Maker.
Technically, he is not. At the end of Johnny Cage's run, he made it back to his home universe, and then we haven't seen him since.
Gotcha. But yeah, he was part of the Venom run, which is kind of cool. Okay, are we back? Is everybody cool?
Yeah, he was part of them. Are we back? Is everybody cool?
Well, Len, you're the only one that had Secret
I'm the
Invasion on
only
the list if you wanted to actually.
I'm the only one.
Oh,
You and me
that's
together.
the
Oh, about
Oh,
you
Yeah,
covered
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
No, it's
dope.
dope. I like it. Dope. I liked it.
I liked it a lot.
I
I
liked
loved
the
the whole
scroll
type of
situation.
It was interesting because
it
harkened back.
It harkened back. Because when did that happen? What year was that?
2002.
2002.
Oh,
was it really?
No, I'm thinking like
Seven,
8 is post Civil War, so like 9.
It kind of
reminded me going back to Secret Wars.
One of the cool things come out of Secret Wars.
2008.
One of the cool things come out of Secret Wars was that the Thing, as a Fantastic Four, stayed in Battle World, right? And he didn't come back. He initially didn't come back. And because he didn't come back, that's when She-Hulk joined the Fantastic Four. But because he didn't come back, Johnny Storm started dating Alicia Masters.
Right.
Oof. To the point where they actually got married. And then you found out that the Alicia Masters that he had married and in love with was actually a Skrull.
Oh! What was Elijah?
Yeah.
That's well, I mean, I guess
it was cool.
A classic match.
It still doesn't like absolve Johnny.
No, it doesn't.
I think didn't Johnny date Alicia?
Whoa. We didn't absolve Johnny.
How about
she
absolve
make her own
Alicia
decision?
Masters?
Well, she didn't die, and he stepped in on his best friend's.
Wait, was she? So the one he married was, or we found out later?
We found out the one he married was a Skrull.
Oh, that's
and then he stayed, and he stayed married to the Skrull.
He's still like,
But he snuck in on Ben.
That's what I'm talking about.
But to be fair,
Ben stayed
on Battle World.
A whole other planet.
He
He didn't come back for his lady. He stayed on Battle World. And the whole idea of him staying on Battle World was because he could turn back and forth from the thing.
And did he have a love interest on Battle World?
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so.
Well, then what's the point, dude?
Yeah, you're gonna stay on a Battle World.
Really, what's the point?
You're gonna get your rocks wet. Why are you even there?
Right?
I mean, I definitely see your point. And when Ben didn't get back, him and Johnny, they got into it. But it was just like the whole Secret Invasion kind of reminded me of that.
Is this Byrne Fantastic Four?
Yes.
How was that? I never read that, but I feel like I want to because I liked his She-Hulk.
It was great. It doesn't read well now, as far as like, but that's mostly because of the dialogue. Like, they just weren't paying attention to the dialogue at that time.
Oh, there is a crossover between that and Superman, I believe. That is not an official crossover, but it's like the same panels happen, and Mxyzptlk exits and comes in as the Impossible Man, and he's like makes reference to this other thing that he was doing. Yeah.
You know what's the best crossover of that? It happened back in the 70s. There was an Aquaman comic book where he had to stop some kind of like nuclear thing from going off down
in Atlanta, in
Atlanta.
Atlanta, Georgia.
I mean, that would also be a problem
on the TV show
fair.
Atlanta.
And I think it was like the last issue of his book or something, right? And he like you see his hand on the plunger, but then the book was canceled. So like about a year or two later in Submariner, there's a panel where you see a green hand with the orange shirt hit the plunger and the bomb affects Atlantis. And Submariner has to deal with it. And that's how they continue, because it's the same writer.
That's
cool.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
We're moving on to number 1.
Yep. Here we go.
Brian, what is your number 1 favorite Marvel event?
Number 1.
I just want to take a moment and I just want to say
it's nothing but time.
Here it is.
I just want to say,
Yeah.
no matter what your choice is.
Yes.
You're wrong.
you stepped on my shit. Go ahead.
All right. That choice, aforementioned, is the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh,
Now,
never heard of it.
Wait, no, not yet.
Never heard of it.
JD,
Oh, that's me.
what's your number 1 and talk about it?
Oh, I'll tell you, it's
Hang on a
Infinity
second.
Gauntlet.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
The same one that I
the
mentioned?
very same.
That was
Yes.
a good story.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. All right. Let's get out of here.
Fair enough. Len.
No, Infinity Gauntlet. Infinity Gauntlet. Which one's that? Oh, yes, the snap. I love. There was something about the fact that I had never seen a story quite like Thanos, a villain, having a crush on the physical manifestation of death.
Yeah, it's very high-minded stuff.
And then being like, she constantly just shrugs him off.
Yeah.
He keeps trying to win her affections and he keeps trying to like show off, do things for her. And she just, she doesn't speak ever. She just turns her back on him and walks away. And he keeps professing his love and doing all these things. And so this dude was like, I'm going to murder half of the entire universe. I'm going to gain all of these Infinity Stones just so that I can win the heart of death. And I thought, what a neat love story idea, or stalker. I'm not sure if it's a love story, but toxic masculinity, I guess, at this point. But there was something about that I thought was such a cool idea for it to make an impetus for this big crossover that decimated half of the planet. And when he, all of the heroes get together and they go to fight Thanos on the rock that he's hanging out on. Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but
it's his rock.
I remember the deaths. I remember being struck by the deaths of the heroes as feeling like they were kind of brutal and terrible.
They were.
He throws, he cuts off, he puts someone's head in a block, in like an airtight block. Was it like Captain America? No, Captain America gets his head chopped off, I believe. Spider-Man has his face beat in with a rock by, I want to say, Gamora. It was just really brutal. The art was great. I think it was part him. Was it Perez? Part Perez and part somebody
Perez
else?
started it, and then Ron Lim finished.
Ron Lim.
Oh, really?
Ron Lim does not live up to Perez.
Wow.
But yeah, the original Infinity Gauntlet I thought was just awesome.
Yeah.
Infinity War, the second one, I thought was cool because it had the doppelgangers and there was like the 6-armed Spider-Man
cool
with the mouth.
Yeah.
I didn't even make it through Infinity the third one. What did I say it was?
War?
Infinity War. Yeah.
Wait, there was Gauntlet, War,
And then I'm sorry, War is the second one.
Yeah.
Infinity.
I actually do
There
have
was
it written
Abyss,
down.
but that was way later.
But what did you go ahead, Brian?
Okay. So yeah, I thought his rationale was of interest. Also, Silver Surfer and Adam Warlock have big parts in it, and I always thought the two of them were cool. And the idea of
Gauntlet War Crusade.
Crusade.
Gauntlet War Crusade.
Crusade, right. Now, I enjoyed all of them as far as I recall, but Gauntlet is what I think about it.
That's the one.
Right? That's the one.
Yeah.
And the idea of these 6 gems that each control an aspect of what is, and if you get all of them together, you have omnipotence, like,
and a cool ass glove.
Which was really just Thanos' glove.
Yeah.
That he put him in.
Yeah.
And it's now the Infinity Gauntlet. It's like one of his gloves.
Yeah.
Hopefully he created some more.
Len, thoughts?
On Infinity?
Yeah, I'm the only one that didn't put it in my top 5. So you 3.
I mean, I like the audaciousness of it. I'm mad. I'm mad that I won that because like this was Perez's big thing to prove that he could like he had like a down period, so he was proving like I can get the work done, and he didn't get it done. And I won the bet. But I like big cosmic things. I've always been a sucker for Thanos, dating back to when Jim Starlin used him in the Avengers.
Thanos copter?
Not the Thanos copter. No.
This was my first experience of Thanos.
Really?
I had no idea who this dude was.
I think it probably was for me too. I don't
I guess
really
for a lot of
remember
people.
that, but yeah.
And even back in the day, I didn't know about the lead into it, where he was going to get the actual stones. There's a whole one shot that's really good.
Right.
That I didn't read until a couple years ago.
I always my first introduction to Thanos was there's an epic Marvel annual crossover between the Avengers and Marvel 2-in-1 that Jim Starlin did. It's the Avengers versus Thanos, and then in that Marvel 2-in-1 the Thing and Spider-Man, they go and rescue the Avengers, and it's epic, it's silly, it's stupid. You read it now, it's just big dumb stupid mashup. But that was my introduction to Thanos and like Adam Warlock and all that type of stuff.
From the Thanos that as you knew him, was there an upgrade to get him to Infinity Gauntlet? Did he become sort of a different character, or was he always just sort of that same dude?
He was kind of always the same dude. He was in love with death, and much like him being in love with death, because you got to remember, him being in love with death was akin to Darkseid being winning the anti-life equation. So that was his anti-life equation. He was in love with death.
There's a lot of similarities.
I never put that together.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a whole lot. I for some reason I think Kirby actually had a hand in creating Thanos. So
the way I heard it, he originally was sort of patterned after Metron, and whoever the editor was like, if you're gonna steal one of the new gods, steal the best one. And then he made him like bulked him up and made him look like Darkseid.
Oh, so who made him look like Darkseid? Kirby or Starlin?
Starlin.
Probably Starlin.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You're right. Because Starlin started.
He's real thin, and
he's certainly not as like Zuftic. But by the time like that Marvel 2-in-1, that crossover, he's kind of thick.
Quick.
You never saw that because around the time of when he starts to become famous because of the movies, they actually repackaged those 2 annuals as a one shot.
No.
And they put it out. And I think it's actually they took because Starlin did this cool like double, both cover double poster for the cover, and they reproduced it. Yeah, they reproduced for it. It's dope. I think I got it over here.
Oh shit.
Well, I was just about to ask Len what his number 1 was.
Civil War, says Len from across the room.
And let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
So there's only one person that didn't have it on their top 5. That's Brian.
It was at one point on my top 5.
Oh.
But I suspected you didn't put it on there because you historically have talked about how you are over heroes fighting heroes as a concept.
That's true. That
That's
had
the whole
not yet
Marvel
happened
John.
at that time.
Yeah.
Though.
But like fatigue is it retroactively affects other things.
Yeah.
So I figured maybe
I remember even at that time I was like, yeah, in the real world you wouldn't want Spider-Man doing what he does. But I know that Peter Parker's a good guy, right? Like I have a view of him that you can't have of somebody in the real world other than yourself at best. Civil War also, which may be culminating with World War Hulk, I believe began a pattern that I noticed in Marvel of
JD's having his own show.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The pattern in Marvel that I think just because of the success of Civil War, they started turning each of their characters in turn bad, right? So you've got, this is the beginning of Reed Richards as a jerk because he's smart, which I don't like that pattern in comics because it's like smart means jerk, this conniving guy. Then what's that?
I don't remember that.
I think this is where it kind of started. Tony Stark is the fighting on probably the bad side, but then you get Xavier as a jerk and a manipulative bastard because he is a telepath.
Still is.
All of these things are true.
Right. Well,
they've always Reed Richards has always been a jerk.
He trains children to go fight in a war at a school. Xavier.
Also, you know what though? This is I am now currently in the middle of rereading Ultimate X-Men, also by the writer of this, Millar, whatever.
It's Miller.
I think it's Miller.
It's
yeah.
Miller.
Yeah.
Looks like.
And his Ultimate Xavier is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So like he just didn't change it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean that always happened in this. I mean, just if you look, Marvel went through a period of about 15 years of at least one person from every character group, except Thor, who was out at the time. He was dead. You get Xavier becomes kind of a jerk. Peter Parker is literally subsumed by Dr. Octopus.
Love that story.
It's a good story.
Too. So good.
Oh, yeah. World War Hulk happens. Doctor Strange loses Sorcerer Supreme during World War Hulk.
Yeah.
They just, I think, saw the success of their heroes turning bad. Yeah. Oh, Scott Summers.
I don't know if bad, but like
I don't think it's
more flawed.
So maybe not villainous, but Scott Summers becomes a bad guy for a while, right? I think
I always hated him.
People are like, "Ooh, I want to buy that," and then so they just went through and I just think it started with Civil War. It's just an interesting thing, not a commentary on the Civil War story.
I love that time of Marvel. Actually, I liked all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of so I think that all of these characters are malleable.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm a big fan of like shaking it up. Like the idea of like doing all these crazy things with these characters is all like predicated on the understanding that they get reverted back to what they were.
I'm not saying it's
reset.
Good or bad. It's a pattern that I think was business driven on Marvel's part, as are they all.
When it's done well, I don't mind. You know, like Hydra Cap.
Oh yeah, that's another
I think the idea
the
idea of it was great. It went on too long, and the execution was a little rocky.
Yeah,
so,
agreed.
But in Iron Man was evil after Axis, and no, I hear what you're saying, but I don't know if Civil War itself necessarily applies because no one was wrong.
Yeah,
that was what I liked about Civil War.
Everyone had a damn good point.
Yeah,
they may have done dumb things.
Yeah,
but they had damn good points.
Especially the thing that starts off the whole event is the New Warriors are there filming a
reality TV show at the time.
Yeah. And they wind up accidentally blowing up a school, right?
Yeah,
I think
Stamford, Connecticut.
Yeah, they blow up a whole town or something, but it's got a school in it, and so a bunch of kids die, and so it's really hard to fight against. Maybe superheroes should be registered. You know what I mean?
Maybe we should have known who was here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I do you guys have a favorite? One of my favorite moments in that entire book though is when the Underground what is it? Frank Castle. I was
thinking the same thing.
Frank Castle, Punisher is he is who he is. He is an ally until he's not an ally. But Cap brings him in, kind of, and he worships Cap because he's a vet. And he brings him to the Stronghold, and he immediately guns down like 3 dudes. And it's just like, why the hell did you do that? He's like, those are villains. I kill villains.
Yeah.
And then leaves.
It's my whole thing, bro.
Literally my whole thing. Because at that point they were having like B-list villains kind of also held back because they were anti-registration. I just thought that was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
It was a really good example of understanding a character and not betraying the character. And I was like, this is really cool.
And I think that's the first time I realized that Frank Castle had like a man crush on Steve Rogers.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea. And I was like, I guess that kind of makes sense.
It tracks, right?
Yeah.
That might be the first time anybody had it. I don't know, but it sounds like about the right time. But it makes sense that he would be all about him.
My big moment was the unmasking of Peter Parker as Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, the other thing they did was like all of a sudden Peter had a man crush on Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Which I guess is kind of tracks. But it seemed a little out of left field at the time. And he became Tony Stark's like protege.
Yeah.
Started working for Tony, and then Tony built him the Iron Spider suit, which when I first saw it, I thought it was a joke. It was a Brian Hitch drawing, and I was like, that is the most hideous costume I've ever seen. But then Ron Garney came along and started drawing it in Amazing Spider-Man, and I was like, oh shit, this costume is cool rad as hell.
Yeah.
Now I love the costume, all because of Ron Garney's the way he interpreted it. And then seeing Peter unmask on live television,
that was wild.
I was like, holy
that was the
hell.
wildness of it.
That was very cool.
My only thing is I wish it had lasted longer. But
yeah, well, they knew that, like they in hindsight, I think it was like Straczynski was talking about. So like all the stuff that happened in the other and all the stuff that happened in Civil War, they were so okay to do it because they already knew that it was going to all get erased like 6 months later with One More Day.
Oh, I thought One More Day was more of a response to like, well, we want to. I remember it being longer.
They were
between that.
They were super open to just doing it all because.
Oh, interesting.
Because at one point, fucking Spider-Man had pincers and new abilities and all kinds of weird shit, and they were just like, fuck it, go for it. We're gonna reboot them soon.
Do it while you can.
Go for it. Moreland, sounds great. I particularly enjoyed everything that came out of Civil War 2. Like this was definitely
Civil War as well.
The Civil War, not
Civil War 2.
Marvel. No.
You said Civil War 2. I was just
all the stuff that came out of it. So like the Avengers, the whole entire Marvel universe turned into two separate things: the Underground and those registered. There was two Avengers. There was an Underground Avengers team. There was the Mighty Avengers. There was
That's when Ronin became a thing. Right?
Yeah.
Well, it was Ronin was Clint.
Right.
And he was leading the new Avengers.
Cool. That was very cool.
It was so cool seeing him, and then Carol was leading the Mighty Avengers. And it was so cool seeing these 3 years prior, these characters had nothing going on, and they were leading the highest selling books
because of Brian Michael Bendis.
Anyway, so
and what he did with Luke and Jessica.
That
was the first time I started paying attention to Luke Cage, man.
Loved it. He was the one that did something with Luke Cage.
So the last number one is mine.
What is it?
Hey, no.
Annihilation Conquest.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Wait, what's that?
It's my number one.
Is that the sequel to Annihilation?
Sequel to Annihilation.
Very good.
Wow.
After Annihilation, the Nova series started. I don't know if that was sarcastic.
Wow.
Not at all.
Neat.
No, I thought it was interesting that his number one
is a sequel.
It's an event sequel.
It is. It is in my mind. It is better in every way to Annihilation, and I like Annihilation. All of the showrunners for this event were Abnett and Lanning. It wasn't Keith Giffen. Keith Giffen won the minis, and the minis themselves were a Star-Lord mini. You got to know who Peter Quill was.
Yes, that was a great mini.
Yeah, it was awesome, super awesome, and it was essentially the proto version of what we know as the Guardians of the Galaxy. Because there also was a Rocket miniseries. Rocket and Groot miniseries. Mantis was on one of the teams. All of these great characters, and then the Annihilation Conquest was the Phalanx, the old X-Men enemies.
Yeah, I remember the Phalanx
taking over essentially another Annihilation wave. And it was Nova and who would become the Guardians of the Galaxy fighting a giant cosmic war. And it was happening concurrently with Civil War. When Nova got back to Earth, Tony immediately was like, would you like to join up? And he was like, I just saved the universe twice.
I'm going to bed.
You guys nap. I'm going to rub one out and nap.
Essentially, you guys are children fighting. I'm out. I thought that was awesome, and
also Thor wasn't around, right? Like he was out doing.
That was a big
dead.
thing in Civil War. They cloned him and he killed Goliath.
That's right.
Clor.
Everyone called him Clor because he was cloned Thor.
He was out of commission for like a year.
I reread a couple years ago, actually during the pandemic. I read all of Annihilation, and then I immediately read Annihilation Conquest, and it is 10 times more enjoyable and holds up to me.
Can I read Conquest without?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I absolutely
without
think
eyes was the end of my sentence, but okay.
But you can.
Braille.
Braille.
No,
Will you read it to me?
It's an amazing book, and it leads to the Guardians run. It's it immediately leads into that 30-issue Guardians run that is still to this day one of the best cosmic runs.
That the Abnett
Period.
I agree.
Landing.
Yeah, like
Never
the
read
Guardians that the movie Guardians are more
Yeah.
based
It is.
on, and they've got the outfits
To the
with
point where when they
yeah.
announced the movie,
yeah,
I was ecstatic, and everyone was like, "Who the fuck are the Guardians?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah.
See that for in my mind, Annihilation and Annihilation Conquest, and to a lesser extent the third one, kind of blend together. Like earlier, I was like, "Oh, the Star-Lord miniseries," but that's actually Conquest. Right?
Yeah.
That was when I first became aware of Abnett and Lanning, and they did an awesome Superman Confidential, like 3 issues with him and the New Gods came out around that time, and I was like, these guys are awesome, you know.
Now they're not. Now they're
broken
they broke up.
Yeah,
No more bromance.
Yeah,
Abnett is doing like some Dynamite stuff.
yeah.
It's decent. But yeah, there's
Are you saying he's
Shame.
doing Dynamite stuff, or he's doing stuff for
For
Dynamite?
he's doing
Dynamite.
stuff
was-
for Dynamite. It was
Okay.
some
I thought it
superpowers
was
things
the other
and
one at first.
some Red Sonja
Yeah.
stuff for Dynamite.
He's been
and
it's mining
and it's
just using dynamite.
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 So that is our top 5 for Marvel. So
Very cool.
that took a long time.
It did. It
I-
was fun though.
I don't know if do you want to do DC?
Wait, now
that's what I'm asking. Like
Oh.
We're at an hour 15.
we're in hour
Yeah.
15.
we got
So-
10 more minutes.
So next week we'll do DC, and then I guess
I guess this will
for
be a
the new- yeah, it's gonna
three-parter.
be a three-parter.
3-parter.
I figured this would take
You know
a while.
what? This is fun. I don't care.
But I want to do some numbers. I want to do some
All right.
numbers.
Let's
So
do some numbers.
Politics.
some Gurlitics. So of all of the books for Marvel that we talked about, the one that got the most mentions, as in like all of us
Yeah.
mentioned it, was House of M.
House of M. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to reread that. Is that an omnibus?
Not yet.
Fudge
Really?
bombs. Right?
I think
Weird.
I think it's coming out in like January,
Yeah.
February.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
Um,
Oh,
House of M
for
was-
it to be an omnibus. It's
Omnibus.
out.
It's out.
buy-
You can get it.
okay, yeah.
I set up a point system, which I was talking about before. So if somebody said that was their number 1, it got 5 points. If it was their number 5, it got 1 point.
Okay.
Collectively did all the points. The top earner, well, actually just all the top earners in order of all the books that we talked about tonight. Infinity Gauntlet is number 1 with
Nice.
14 points.
Sweet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
good.
Civil War is number 2 with 12 points.
Tracks.
House of M, 8 points.
Uh-huh.
Secret Invasion, 6 points.
Mhm.
Annihilation Conquest, 5 points.
How?
I made it my number 1, even though I was the only one there. It was
Oh.
5 points.
right.
Secret Wars, 5 points. Annihilation, 4 points.
Hmm.
Age of Apocalypse, 3 points. King in Black, 2 points because it was both of our number 5, so it's
Yeah.
just 2. And then World War Hook was just 1 point because it was
Okay.
just you. at
But
the
it made
end.
the board.
But it made the board.
Well, I would hope.
So yeah, so like from one metric, House of M seems to be the most popular amongst us. And the other metric, it's Infinity Gauntlet,
Yeah.
which I don't think is very surprising.
Yeah,
No, it's
they're
not
both
bad.
great.
They're both
Now-
great, but I would argue that Civil War and House of M are probably the most successful as far as like sticking the
Such a
landing
different era. Oh,
from
successful
beginning to
story
end.
wise.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
oh.
I agree. They are the most, and also too, this was the era of Marvel where they refused fill-in artists, so there
Mhm.
were giant
Oh.
gaps
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
delays.
Yeah.
So I like Civil War, 7
Took-
issues
yeah,
took
forever.
like a year and a
Yeah,
half.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was McNiven,
McNiven,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And people were livid and they hated it, but now looking back, it's like
I mean, it's so much better.
all
I
one
will-
to
artist.
have it
It's great.
collected as.
I will
yeah.
wait.
I will wait. I don't care how long. Just
Yeah.
don't change the artist on me.
If it's a good artist.
Yeah. Diodato, you can change him all the time.
Whereas
Sorry, Mike.
change out.
Now
Change
in
them out.
our
Greg Horn.
talking about this
Land.
Marvel
Land.
DC, right? We picked our favorite Marvel events and our favorite DC events,
Mhm.
but one that I bet was on none of our radars, but maybe could work its way in to week 3 in some fashion. The Amalgam Age. of Comics.
Ah.
Nope, it's not an event.
It's not an event.
It's an
Wasn't
initiative.
it?
It's an
No.
initiative.
It's
It
an
was event,
initiative.
but it's not an event.
I mean,
No, it didn't touch any of the other books and any of
I
the
thought
lines.
they didn't.
Mm-mm.
I thought they didn't publish anything else for like that month.
I do not think so.
You know what? Now that he
Yeah.
mentions it, I think he's right.
There's Marvel versus DC.
I think it
leading
did stop
into-
publication for a month.
Yeah.
That's
Uh-oh.
kind of interesting.
Well,
It'll be
well.
my last place. I thought it was so boring to read.
No,
It is
Mar-
boring.
not.
So
We did
boring.
read some of the
We
events.
read
It's
some of
it.
it's
Yeah.
boring.
So
It's
fucking
boring. It's stupid. But nobody cares. It's all about the
idea.
comics.
Yeah.
The Amalgam comics came out. That's all anybody really gave a fuck about.
Yeah, I mean that's really.
Oh,
the
I
thing.
didn't like those either.
You didn't like
Yeah.
the.
Wait, you mean
I
like
mean, I liked enough of them.
Nighthawk or Night?
I like the you didn't
Yeah.
you didn't
Dark
like
Claw.
Star
Spy-
Claw. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Doctor
Spider Boy.
what was it, Doctor Fate?
Doctor Strange Fate.
Doctor
If I was
Strange
gonna like
Fate?
any of them, it would have been Spider Boy,
Yes.
drawn by Mike Waringo.
Yes.
And you
Still
didn't like
hated it.
that?
Still hated it.
What? Let's go.
Okay, wait. Let's. Does anybody in the chat have any opinions? Like,
No.
in so much as is
No.
that an event? I actually don't think it's an event. I think it's like an initiative. But
I think it's an initiative too, but I mean,
I think there was
come
Marvel
on.
versus DC 4-issue, and then it led into all these tie-ins.
Yeah, and then it was the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
book.
including it at this stage,
You
fucks
can't
everything up.
you can't do it at this stage.
I'm
because
not
I
talking
actually
about-
do have metrics for what we do with the combined.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
include it at this
No, no, no.
stage, but I think in hindsight, what makes it an event is if both publishers stop publishing.
Yeah.
That sounds like
Do they?
that's
They
an event.
both?
I really,
almost
I
positive they
kind of
did.
remember
Yeah.
he's right. I
Yeah.
kind of remember that they
And
did.
like Marvel published half of them, and DC published the other half.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
with
know.
that, it
I was
really
so
was
disengaged.
all about the
Yeah.
ideas.
Hated it.
At the time, or when we read it for the show.
A little bit
No,
of
at
both.
the time,
Yeah.
look, it was a smart idea. It wasn't a bad idea, and the story was stupid. But you could have got the story over if you had better writing and better art.
Oh.
that's what.
Oh,
messed
so
it
if
up.
you
So if it was a
rebuilt it from the
completely
ground
different
up,
book.
yeah.
No. Okay, no. All right. Be honest. You could have had the same dumbass story,
Yeah.
but if it was better art, it
Who was
would have
the
gotten
artist?
over. I think it was Jurgens.
Jurgens, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're talking about DC versus Marvel,
Yeah.
not the amalgamate.
Well, the
Yeah.
amalgam, they were
Yeah,
all
it was
different
all
artists.
different, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
that's
can't
right,
count
yeah.
them.
So
But
we
I'm
can
saying,
call it an honorable mention.
yes,
Yeah.
an honorable mention.
But see, that's what I was thinking. Is like we did DC and Marvel. I never thought of their one combined event,
Yeah.
which also was led into by a
No,
number
that's
of other.
the JLA Avengers is the one combined event that I would ever talk about.
Ooh.
But that's not an event.
No.
Exactly. It's not. That's an
That's a
honorable mention.
crossover,
I
See, that's not even the one I would talk about as much as I love that.
you want to talk about the Teen Titans one?
Teen
right?
Titans,
Oh.
actually.
See,
That's
but
the better one.
Maybe
you
talk
have-
for another time.
I don't.
All
Um,
right, let's
But
get
yeah,
the freak out of here.
Let's get the freak out of here.
All right. So
Len
that
wants
was,
to go to bed.
that was funish.
I'm waiting for my lady.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, to go to bed.
I
Jesus Christ. Oh, are we done?
We could be.
Do you have something else?
No. Have
This
a good
was-
night, everybody.
You guys,
mean, y'all, this is
I had my doubts.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. This was a bucket of fun. I love this. This was so much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you all out there enjoyed it. Thank you for joining
JD,
us.
you have your doubts,
Uh-huh.
but I have a question.
Oh, do you?
That's right.
I don't doubt it.
What's Patreon.com?
I'll tell you, it's a place that you can help out the show. You can go to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo. And you know what I'm going to do? Give me a second.
All right.
Give me several seconds. I'm going to go into the Patreon, and I would like to thank the people who are patrons right now. I'm going to do it. I can't find them. I don't know how to do it on the app. I'm gonna thank
Jim.
you,
Mark.
Alice.
Steve.
Alice just signed up yesterday or
Oh,
2 days
nice.
ago. Alice Kern, thank you for joining. We have 17 total patrons. We appreciate it. But I don't know how to use this app, so never mind. Next time I'll be more prepared. That's not true. I won't be. But thank you, everyone, especially Alice, who just signed up, and everyone who's been around for.
Yeah, we like you more
years.
the newer you are.
Yeah. Robert Monroe said this was for looking forward to next week. Does anybody else have anything they want to say?
No, man. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, this
Thank
was
you
a
for
lot of fun.
hosting us tonight, Len.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
I hope you had a good time. I know JD's stomach did.
Listen, he's got a bucket of fun-sized Snickers. It's Batman. It's Batman holding a bucket of fun-sized Snickers. So how am I not going to eat them?
Why do they do that? The worse a product is, the better the name is, right? Fancy ketchup, it's the worst ketchup. Fun-sized, smallest of the sizes.
I don't know.
That's
You
not
know,
true.
private
Fun
stuff-
size is not the smallest.
What's the smallest?
The
Minis.
minis.
Oh,
The
you're right
minis,
about
yeah.
that.
Oh,
For a
I
while
found
it
them.
was.
Here we go. Alice Curran, thank you. Jason Lavochkin, thank you. Donna Lewis, Dan McGurk, and Elliot, thank you. Daniel Hine, Kevin, Alabama Whirly, Hal 2814, Pink Apocalypse, Keegan Kaya McGee, Max, Grace Gordon, Anthony Drago, T. Perrin Mitchell, Emily G, Mo P, and Katie Fulfer. Thank you, everyone, for being patrons. We really appreciate it. We love you. And we will see you next week. Let's get the frig out.